Appearance, attitude, professionalism, efficiency. The crew came in, did their job, and got out, no wasted time.
Your company was great. My only complaint was the crew leader's attitude. He seemed annoyed with me when his schedule was changed.
Very good job. One glass was broken, but everything else was okay. The crew worked hard and long hours to get the job done. I appreciate the fact that they were on time, polite, and helpful.
Wow, it's a lot to remember. I mean, packing dishes and assembling beds are one thing, but all that stuff about how we look and the uniform and everything is just...
Yeah, but you can see why it's important, right? I mean, your attitude and your appearance are as much a part of what the customer sees as any technical skills you've got.
Maybe so, but...
Well, think about it. Remember, customers form perceptions, and to them, perception is reality. Yeah.
Well, the delivery crew was a joke. 2 kids, old shorts and t-shirts, and one of them decided to take his shirt off halfway through the process.
The appearance, professionalism, and efficiency of all who were involved was top-notch. They did a great job.
The crew that moved us represented your company in the best way possible in attitude, performance, and knowledge. You can be proud to have dedicated people like them representing your company. They were a delight to work with.
You know, one of the first perceptions that customers form is based on appearance. And believe me, appearance counts. It's important to our customers. And it might be a kind of a touchy thing to talk about, but things like personal hygiene and grooming are really important to customers. In fact, that's why we actually have certain standards that the company follows.
Like what?
Well, some are obvious, but they're still important to think about. Bathing or showering every day before work. Hair should be clean and neat. Be clean shaven. Or if you do have a beard or mustache, it should be well trimmed.
And the same kind of standards apply to the uniform, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, if you think about it, people relate uniforms with certain professions. Soldiers, police officers, airline pilots, letter carriers. People expect certain professionals to be in uniform. It helps us identify them and their roles.
Not to mention it helps the customer know that you're representing your company.
Sure. It sets the tone. And it helps the customer feel safe about letting you in their home. And it helps build confidence about your work as a team.
I can see that. Yeah. Also makes you feel kind of proud of our company and the job we do.
Yeah, it does. Now, as an operational standard, packers and movers are expected to be in uniform 100% of the time when on duty. Now, our company has specific guidelines as to what in uniform means, but in general, an official uniform consists of
a collared button-down shirt in proper company colors with the proper company identification. You can wear a company-approved t-shirt under your collared shirt, and if it gets too warm, ask the customer's permission to remove the collared shirt. T-shirts may have the company's name or agency identification on them, but no other printed shirts are acceptable. Pants should be in the proper uniform colors, khaki, charcoal, or black. No jeans or Levi's, but shorts may be worn when appropriate, as long as they're in company colors of khaki, charcoal, or black.
Everything must be clean and neat, and it's always a good idea to carry an extra uniform shirt in case you get dirty or sweaty.
Shoes must be dark colored. Steel-toed boots to prevent foot injuries are recommended.
And what about hats?
Hats aren't required, but if you do wear a hat, only baseball-type caps with company identification are allowed. Even belts are important. Make sure you only wear belts with leather-covered buckles. They'll prevent damage to a customer's possessions that might be scratched by a metal buckle.
And what about when it gets cold, Joe? Like during the late fall and winter months?
That's a good question. Outerwear like coats, jackets, vests, jumpsuits, coveralls should all be in company colors and should have appropriate company identification. But no other logos or imprints are allowed.
And it's important to remember that anytime you're in uniform, you're representing your company. What I mean is, let's say you're off work. If you stop on your way home to help someone change a tire or whatever, and you're in uniform, that person will form a positive impression of our company from your appearance and your actions. But remember, the opposite is true too.
Everything went smoothly. I can't believe how much everyone seemed to enjoy their jobs. They got everything packed and had great attitudes.
The attitude of the packing crew could have been better. They acted like it was an imposition for them to have to do the work.
Everyone was very nice and extremely helpful. They all had smiles on their faces and were very friendly. I feel very fortunate to have had your company move me. Everyone did a fantastic job.
I never realized that attitude was so important. Of course, nobody wants to work with someone who has a bad attitude, but you never really know when the customer is watching or listening while you're working.
It really is important. Always be aware that the customer may be watching or listening every minute. You know, attitude definitely shows in your actions with the customer, especially in terms of your respect for them, their possessions, and their home.
It shows in your role with your company in terms of dependability. It shows in your role with your coworkers in terms of teamwork and cooperation. And it shows in you in terms of enjoying and feeling positive about your work. An attitude is really the way you view a situation. It's contagious and it's transmitted to others. In other words, it really shows. You could say that a positive attitude is taking a view that will lead you to act in a way that produces a positive result. There's always going to be days that are hot, furniture that's heavy, and sometimes challenging customers to deal with. But a positive attitude will actually help you overcome these things. A good attitude is part of the performance, one that your customers, supervisors, and coworkers will notice and appreciate. You can be the most skilled packer or mover there is, but if you have a poor attitude toward a customer, they'll form a negative perception of you, and possibly a negative perception of the overall move. And we certainly don't want that reflected in our customer survey scores.
I think quality is action and attitude, and that means being part of a team. When it comes to the moving industry, teamwork isn't just some overused buzzword. A team can get things done more effectively than individuals. Try moving a dresser down a flight of stairs by yourself, or loading a 3,500-pound shipment on a hot day without help. It's obvious teamwork just makes the job easier, and teamwork means sharing a common goal. In our case, that means serving the customer and doing it right the first time.
You know, everybody on a team has a role. On a baseball team, you've got the pitcher, the catcher, the shortstop, the right fielder. Everybody has a specific job and a role to fill. Now, the team does best when each player plays their position correctly.
And when the roles are clear, everyone knows what they're supposed to do and when they're supposed to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And teamwork is also built by changing that I attitude into a we attitude. So when you finish a job, check to see if any of the members of the crew need help, or if there's anything else you can do.
Thinking handoffs builds teamwork. Think about how your task will affect someone down the road. Check that moving equipment such as dollies are working okay for the next person. Make sure that you leave a pack van clean and ready for the next crew. Another way to build teamwork is listening and following directions. You may receive direction from a crew leader, van operator, or even a customer. Ask questions to make sure you understand what's expected. Never be afraid to ask them to demonstrate if necessary. It's even a good idea to repeat the request back in your own words to show you understand. And don't argue when asked to do a job. You may be given an assignment that you don't like, but as you gain more skills and expertise, you may ask for jobs you find more challenging. Teamwork is built by sharing information and resources. Remember, you're not in competition with your team members. You'll find that you and your coworkers can complement each other's skills and be able to learn from each other. Finally, flexibility also builds teamwork, like being open to suggestions, trying something new if the old way doesn't work. You have to be flexible enough to adapt to any situation. Don't waste time assigning blame. If a problem has developed, work with coworkers and the customer to devise a solution. Every member of a great team feels that whatever happens is as much their responsibility as any other team member. And that type of attitude can increase the group's ability to get things done. It can make members feel good about each other and feel glad to be part of the team. And believe me, customers notice that.